Everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the history of one of the absolute most renowned military fraternities on the planet, the Gorkhas. Now look, we've all heard the wild pop culture legends, right? But the documented, verifiable reality of the Gorkhas, it's rooted high up in the rugged Himalayan mountains, and honestly, it's a way more fascinating story of genuine, unbreakable resilience. Let's get right into it.
If a man says he is not afraid of dying, he is either lying or he is a Gorkha. That's a famous quote from the former Indian Army Chief of Staff, Field Marshal Sam Manekshaw. And you know, it hits the nail right on the head regarding their fearsome global reputation. But today, we're actually going to pivot away from the mythos. We're going to look at the rigorously documented historical facts, their culture, their intense training, centuries of discipline, because I promise you, the truth here is so much more compelling than the legends.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the origins of the Gorkhas. Then, how they went from foes to formidable allies. Third, their role as heroes of the world wars. Fourth, we'll unpack their culture, values, and the iconic khukuri. And finally, we'll break down the myths, the facts, and their modern legacy.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, Origins of the Gorkhas, the Himalayan Kingdom.
To really understand who they are, we have to go way back. The Gorkha identity didn't just pop up overnight, it evolved. It actually all traces back to the 8th century spiritual influence of a Hindu saint named Guru Gorakhnath, which, by the way, is exactly where the martial community gets its name. Fast forward to the 16th century and you have this ancient kingdom established deep in the steep Himalayan foothills. But the real game changer? That hits in 1743 with the rise of King Prithvi Narayan Shah. His sweeping military reforms totally changed the map, forging a modern, unified Nepal by 1768.
And speaking of Prithvi Narayan Shah, the guy was a brilliant strategist. He literally weaponized the rugged Himalayan geography. Instead of fighting against the mountains, he used them. Through some incredibly complex diplomacy and really unparalleled logistical planning, he managed to unite totally diverse ethnic groups. We're talking the Gurungs, the Magars, the Race, and the Limbus into one single formidable army. He wasn't just out there winning battles. He basically constructed a unified geopolitical fortress right in the heart of South Asia.
Moving right along to Section 2, Foes to Formidable Allies, the Anglo-Nepal War.
Okay, picture this clash. On one side, you've got the British East India Company. They have vast numerical superiority, extended supply lines, and highly advanced artillery. On the flip side, the Nepali soldiers. They didn't have the numbers, but they had the high ground and an incredibly deep knowledge of the terrain. Take the famous Siege of Nalapani, for instance. The Gorkhas used the steep, crazy ravines to completely neutralize British cannons. It was just unmatched bravery and highly adaptable mountain tactics. And honestly, it forced the British to stop and recognize an unparalleled fighting spirit right in front of them.
So what happens next? Well, the Treaty of Sigali in 1816 officially puts an end to the conflict. But here's the wild part. Rather than walking away as bitter enemies, the British took a totally unprecedented step. They formally began recruiting the very guys they were just fighting. This deep mutual respect directly sparked the formation of the first official Gorkha regiments. Think about that for a second. What started as a gritty peace treaty evolved into a 2-century-long military tradition built on ultimate respect.
Which brings us to Section 3, Heroes of the World Wars, the Global Stage.
200,000. Over 200,000. That is the verified hard number of Gorkha soldiers deployed across World War I and World War II. Let that sink in. We aren't talking about some small niche elite unit here. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of men, leaving their quiet mountain homes to fight in massive global conflicts that quite literally changed the course of human history.
And their adaptability? It was just absolutely astounding. During World War I, they were fighting in the brutal, muddy trenches of France and Gallipoli, as well as out in Mesopotamia. Then jump ahead a couple of decades to World War II, and they are enduring the sweltering, disease-ridden jungle combat of the Burma campaign, most notably as part of the famed Chindits. They fought in Italy, the harsh deserts of North Africa, Malaya, Singapore. Their unshakable gallantry in completely foreign, unforgiving environments proved that their military brilliance extended way, way beyond the Himalayas.
Now, behind those massive statistics are these deeply personal, meticulously documented acts of individual bravery. Multiple Gorkhas earned the Victoria Cross. And if you aren't familiar, that is the absolute highest military decoration for valor. We're talking about soldiers like Rifleman Kolbir Thapa and Lachiman Garum. These guys didn't just become myths. They committed verified, almost unimaginable acts of supreme battlefield heroism that are forever cemented in global military archives.
All right, let's look at Section 4, Culture, Values, and the Khukuri.
the man behind the legend.
We have to talk about the khukuri. It is so heavily mythologized in pop culture, right? But what is it really? At its core, this traditional inward curving knife from Nepal was originally designed as a highly versatile agricultural tool. Yeah, it was used for chopping wood, clearing brush, and just doing daily farming tasks. Now, obviously, it gained immense military and cultural symbolism over time, but it's crucial to remember that it started off as a practical, everyday survival tool rooted completely in mountain life.
And when you actually look closely at their core cultural values, you see this really fascinating duality. On one hand, they have this unshakable military discipline, they are fierce. But on the other hand, their mountain lifestyle is anchored in profound humility, unmatched hospitality, and they are deeply family-oriented. Through shared festivals like Dashain and this incredibly rich linguistic heritage, they foster a massive sense of community. It's this exact, unique blend of fierce teamwork and gentle humility that commands such worldwide respect.
Okay, wrapping things up with Section 5, Myths, Facts, Modern Legacy, Deconstructing the Stereotypes.
It is so vital that we dismantle the wild stereotypes surrounding the Gorkhas. First up, that crazy myth that the khukuri must draw blood every single time it's unsheathed. The verifiable historical fact? As we said, it's primarily a daily utility tool for chopping wood and farming. Second, there's this idea that they are naturally fearless, magic super soldiers. The truth is actually far more impressive. Their success is the direct result of rigorous training, insanely strict discipline, and massive endurance. And finally, the myth that Gorkhas only serve the British. Nope, they proudly serve in vast numbers across the Indian Army, the Nepal Army, and all over the world in UN peacekeeping missions.
And today, that incredible legacy of professionalism has totally expanded. They've shifted from fighting imperial wars to playing absolutely vital roles in global humanitarian efforts. Whether they are serving as integral regiments in the Indian Army, standing as the core defense of the Nepal Army, or out there leading essential disaster relief and global UN peacekeeping missions in some of the world's most active conflict zones, their adaptability just continues to shine through. So what's the big takeaway from this explainer? It's that the sheer international respect the Gorkhas command worldwide is firmly, solidly rooted in documented history. It's not based on political propaganda, and it's certainly not Hollywood exaggeration. It is built on actual generations of resilience, unwavering loyalty, and an ongoing commitment to global service.
I'll leave you with this thought to reflect on today. What truly makes a legacy endure over centuries? Is it sensationalized myths? Or is it an unbroken, verifiable history of courage, humility, and global service? The true story of the Gorkhas proves, without a doubt, that historical reality will always outshine the myth. Thanks so much for walking through this incredible timeline with me. Keep asking questions, keep looking for the facts, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.